Hello, I'm Brother Love from Cultaholic and welcome to all the WTF moments from WWE Crown Jewel 2019. A historic night for obvious reasons, but a night that was a bit kind of meh for me. Now, obviously, outside of the result of the Universal Championship match, Mansoor versus Cesaro and Team Flair versus Team Hogan, which was very fun, the rest of the night, big old meh for me, but at least it was better than Crown Jewel 2018. Shane McMahon.
WTF!
Tea time. And straight away, as you can see right there, Booker T of all people got us right in the right frame of mind for Crown Jewel 2019. What the hell was he thinking? We all know the rings are there, Booker, we can see them there, but quite clearly, you, sir, are flipping the bird. Well, he did tell us in TNA, he does love the birds, doesn't he? Think about it. And then we had Ric Flair not being able to count to 5, and judging by his recent exploits on Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, there shouldn't be too much of a WTF moment, but still, grown man, not able to count to 5. But he said Corbin, Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Lashley, 5 of the greatest. Where the hell was Daddy Dre? Rick. And then we have Booker saying the following: do it, and do it like it's supposed to be done. Make somebody bow down. At the end of the day, make them pay. Make them say, Daddy, I don't want none. That's what Crown Jewel's all about. Well, I've read the news in the past year and a half to 2 years. You can say that again, Booker. Tea time. And next up we have Booker T having a go to... I've forgotten me glasses. Right then, now I'm Brother Love from Cultaholic. Let's continue. The next WTF moment surrounds Booker T just having a good old laugh with David Otunga. You've had woman issues, haven't you, Dave? Now, I remember at the time that when David and Jennifer Hudson split, it being very messy and very well reported, and everybody was going, oh, wow, what a mess. And I'm really pressed for time, so I didn't dive as deep as I probably should, but a quick Google took me to an article from E! Which read, she, being Jennifer Hudson, and ex-David Otunga reached an agreement on Tuesday, nearly 2 years after they began negotiations. I bet that was an absolute hoot, and I bet David Otunga, Booker T, loved the fact you were having a good old laugh about him and his women issues. And next up we have Charlie Caruso saying that Riyadh native Mansoor outlasted 49 other superstars in that battle royal he won not too long ago. And I want you right now to never, ever, ever forget that WWE on that night got their maths wrong. In that battle royal that Mansoor won, there was 51 men, not 50. And according to Booker T, this man called Mansoor has had an epic overnight rise. Aye, Booker T, there's no quicker of a rise than winning one match, going missing for 6 months, and then wrestling once again. That's rapid, that. My granddad rises quicker than that, and he's not been able to get it up since 1989. Tea time. And then Booker T made the horrible mistake of calling Cesaro here in, well, it was October, it's now November, but in October of 2019, the Swiss Superman, even though we all know that when Cesaro is a heel, which he is currently, is the Swiss Cyborg. It's a big difference, Booker, honestly. He's showing his naked ankles now and everything, Booker. That's how bad he is. And again, and I know I say this every single time they bring it up, but Michael Cole let us know that the 24/7 rules have been suspended while this battle royal is going on. So of course that begs the question, why was nobody attacking the Singh brothers before the bell while they were dancing their way down the ramp? I know I would have, and I would have been 24/7 champion now if I did so. Idiot wrestlers, all of them. Where's the leader? I thought it had all changed now. Oh well. Now I've got to make this a WTF moment because even though people like us, the hardcore wrestling fans in the West, hold Luke Harper in such a high regard, we do not hold that man in as high a regard as the people of Saudi Arabia do. He was almost getting Brother Love pops in the middle of a match, and that is unprecedented. Now, it feels wrong to make WTF moments surrounding that women's match between Lacey Evans and Natalya, because really, none of it matters. The bigger picture and what that match means for the women around the world, that's the bigger story here. But Booker T claimed that Lacey Evans is the breakout star of 2019, and Booker, we all know who it really is, because he's gonna eat you. So this was weird. The zoom from there to there, it was weird. It was just like, it was weird. I don't know what else to say. Charlie Caruso, you sold your soul to the devil himself last night on that Kickoff show when you said, well, we're here talking about the cream rising to the top. Last year, we saw Shane McMahon crown best in the world. Shane McMahon is not cream, Charlie. He is salty, salty sweat. And next up, we have that lovely, lovely thick man, Big E, saying, our good brother, Xavier Woods. Now, even though I do like Big E, in fact, I love him. I would marry him if I could. That's gimmick infringement, then I've got to call it out. Big E, by doing that, you are what Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson say, you are a mother lover. He is a literal mother lover, isn't he? Becky Lynch's mother lover. I wonder if Becky Lynch's mother rode Big E like a bike yet. Now, I couldn't be asked to work out the time frames and the time differences and everything and how long a flight from Saudi Arabia to Buffalo would actually take. It's somewhere between 17 and 14 hours, depending on who you believe. But when Big E said that tomorrow night, which means tonight, on Friday Night SmackDown, he and Kofi Kingston would be challenging the Revival for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, I was like, what? So they're wrestling in Saudi Arabia, hopping on a plane from Saudi to Buffalo, which takes 17 or 14 hours, depending on who you believe. Then they're wrestling again on Friday Night SmackDown. That is inhumane. Give the lads a breather, will you? And of course, as what actually stood here on Friday, as I stand here right now, the latest we know is just 12 wrestlers from Saudi Arabia got on a plane at the right time to make it to Friday Night SmackDown. And that just leaves you wondering who on earth could have foreseen any issues with having a show in Saudi Arabia one night and Buffalo in the United States the very next night. And then we had the rather baffling moment from Charlie Caruso where she claimed that the New Day haven't had the best of luck with injuries so far this year. And of course, while it is bollocks what has happened with Xavier Woods and his Achilles bad guy in wrestling over the past week or so, if Ali did not get injured the week before Elimination Chamber, that Kofi Kingston WWE Championship reign simply would not have happened. Probably. Kofi Kingston wasn't even in that match until Ali went down with an injury. That lucky but well-deserving but lucky bastard. So to the opening promo package of the main show we go to now, and it said, history. It's not something we wait for. A quick reminder now that Lacey Evans versus Natalya is the first ever women's match to take place in Saudi Arabia. And in that promo package, they also included Terry Two Dicks, old Hulk Hogan, saying, Ric Flair, you've never beaten me, dude. And another quick reminder now that Ric Flair, because I have dove into the actual history books, Ric Flair has defeated Hulk Hogan no less than 13 times. Terry Two Dicks, 63 wins, but Flair 13, the most recent, uncensored, 1999. And one question now, and that is, did Cain Velasquez think he was doing the porn instead of the wrestles? You can just imagine Vince McMahon backstage when he saw Cain Velasquez right there, can't you? Oh, that's so slippy. Ah! Maggle, 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 maggle. And next up we have Michael Cole saying, for the first time ever, a superstar will make his in-ring debut in a WWE Championship match. That has never happened before, Michael continued. But what about AJ Styles, Michael? His debut happened in a WWE Championship match. Aye. And I'm sure there's more, but as I said, I was pushed for time making this video. If Michael said singles match, he would have been fine, but he didn't. Made a grave mistake, Corey. Direct quote from Corey Graves this time, who said, this is unfamiliar territory in a WWE ring for Cain Velasquez. It's much different than fighting in a cage or an octagon. Is that right now, Corey? Even though Cain was doing exactly the same thing he would have done in a cage or an octagon in that WWE ring? That's like me saying I can dance very well in Pop World, but I cannot dance very well in Tiger Tiger because that dance floor there, that's so different. That change of scenery doesn't stop me being the single best dancer in this world with all of the sickest moves, Corey Graves. Well, that settles it then, boys and girls. Professional wrestling is real. MMA, UFC, Bellator, all of that malarkey is fake. And that's because the pro wrestling man made the MMA man his bitch. And that's the most recent thing we've seen from pro wrestling and MMA coming together, so therefore I. But let's pick it apart because it deserves to be picked apart. It was absolute bollocks after all of that build-up, all of that hype. This man being brought in, so new eyes who didn't watch WWE before, new eyes seeing Cain Velasquez do this brand new thing for the first time ever, and he taps in about 10 seconds. Vince McMahon, those new eyes, they would have loved seeing that. They're going to stick around for more, aren't they? So we're in this weird territory now. The MMA fans who know that Cain Velasquez is a dangerous man see him getting beaten inside 10 seconds or whatever and think, oh, he's been beaten straight away. What's the point? Then the professional wrestling fans who have heard about Cain Velasquez being a bad man, see him get beat in 10 seconds or whatever and think, oh, he's not very good. Little man Finn Balor lasted longer in the ring with Brock Lesnar than Cain Velasquez did. So how good can he be? What's the point? And yes, we've read the reports. Apparently Cain Velasquez is injured. So injured, he requires surgery. But that begs the question, Vince McMahon. If you know this man is injured and you cannot stage the match that presumably you want him to have, why put the match on at all? But it's just like The Fiend, isn't it? The Fiend arrives, The Fiend is popular. Damn it, get The Fiend in the title picture! Even though we cannot have Seth Rollins lose because he just beat Brock Lesnar twice, we can't have it. Oh, God. But now, WWE have bought Cain Velasquez away from AAA, away, reportedly, from AEW, with this Brock Lesnar match being the clincher for that deal. Damn it! Put that match on straight away! Even though we know it can't be as good as it could be, just put it on! I'm glad all this greed is biting Vince McMahon in the arse. But at the end of the day, at least WWE, the almighty WWE, were able to show this MMA man, this is our world, not yours. You abide by our rules, you little bitch, and you'll enjoy it. Aye. This match should not have happened. It should have been cancelled. It's as simple as that. It might have pissed us off, but in the long run, we would have got something a lot better than what we got last night. Oh, Cain can wrestle, you know. AAA, go and watch. He just flips and hurricanranas and everything. But most importantly of all, this was the big piss and payoff for Kofi Kingston going, whee! Career suicide, WWE Championship reign, a historic reign at that, being ended for naught. That was the payoff. What? Kofi Kingston did that so we could watch Cain Velasquez and Brock Lesnar hug for a bit. By the way, if I want to watch MMA, I'll go and watch UFC. I'll go and watch Bellator. I want to watch wrestling when I watch WWE. That match they had up until, I know it was hampered because of Cain's injury, and I'm just rambling now, but I'm very angry. It was bollocks. WWE, you're an absolute bunch of piss takers at the best of times, but this took the biscuit, so it did. Kofi didn't end his reign for that. Ronald forgot his arm was injured again, didn't he? Yes, he did. He was swinging that chair like Freddie Pissin Flintoff would swing a cricket bat. That's a reference no one will get. Freddie Flintoff used to be a cricketer, and he would swing his bat very hard and very fast to hit the cricket ball a long way. Ray, sell your arm, man, will you? A fantastic double team maneuver by Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins right there. Ryder's clearly supposed to be grabbing Robert Roode by the tet there, but that's as close as he got. Shades of Jinder Mahal and that whisper in the wind in Saudi Arabia last year. Fantastic.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
And now we have Corey Graves thinking he's Bobby the Brain Heenan, even though he bloody well clearly is not, by claiming that Otis doesn't have a second name because his parents were too scared to claim him. And it's almost as if Otis didn't go by the name Otis Dozovich in WWE for bare time until Vince McMahon took that name away because...
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Corey then questioned whether that was legal in Saudi Arabia. Now I know we might all be culturally different around the world, all four corners of the globe, different rules apply, but if there's one thing that unites the world, it's a fat bastard dancing and making a right tit of himself. That's a WTF moment, like a modern day Michael Jackson. The athleticism! That's a really hard word to say. Of 200-300 pounders like Big E and Tucky, said Michael Cole. Well, have you know, Michael Cole, that Big E weighs 284 pounds, so there. Hook of the leg for the OC. They are the best tag team in the world, said Michael Cole. The Viking Raiders, their first pinfall loss, clean loss, decisive loss, definitive loss on the main roster or in NXT, as far as I can see, when there's 4 men involved in the match. It went at Crown Jewel 2019 to the OC. Now, maybe if this was 2016, when Gallows, Madison and Styles and Nakamura joined WWE, it wouldn't have been too much of a WTF moment, but 3 3.75 long years have passed since then. 3.75 long years where Gallows and Addison have been missing and just booked like crap for a long, long time. So this has got to be a WTF moment. And I know they've signed new contracts for $700,000 a year so Carl Anderson can sit on a little car and drive into a swimming pool, but still, wow! But well done, Luke and Carl. Brock might have survived Cain Velasquez, but he still needs to survive me, says Ronald Mysterious, who of course brought Cain Velasquez to WWE because Rey Mysterio realised, even though he is the biggest little man in WWE history, Brock Lesnar is just too big for him to take on. So he brought in a bigger man to take him on. The bigger man failed, so Rey thinks he's good again. And he would go on to win the 50-man Battle Royal, said Michael Cole. Don't forget what I said earlier.
The Fiend has brought the absolute worst out in me,
said Seth Rollins. Oh, so that's the reason every single time he does an interview or he tweets, he proves he's a massive bellend. How, man, Bray, leave the guy alone with you. You're hampering his career. That is a glorious WTF moment, a positive WTF moment. Finally, an NXT invasion, NXT, Raw, SmackDown, Survivor Series, can it bloody wait? And then we got to Tyson Fury's entrance, and to be honest with you, this was the best thing on a main roster show ever. Not ever, but it was good. At least $500 million, gabillion, trillion, badillion dollars was spent on getting the rights fee for It's Your Thing. Do what you want to do. And all of the pyro that took that Kevin Nash entrance from WCW, where Michael Buffer, when buffering Kevin Nash's arse, says, well, he's a world champion or something, but he's also a person of the world. Whatever that meant. Aye, it was just better than that. And then some. And then some. This paint. Oh. And then what's better or worse, I don't know how they're going to take this. I don't live in Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury came out dressed as a Manchester City fan from 2008 when the Sheikhs took over. But everything involved in that entrance, so obnoxious, so ridiculous, so professional wrestling. What a good tagline that is. And I know that Tyson Fury is meant to be a full inch taller than Braun Strowman, and believe me, an inch is massive. Small willies and all that, lads, am I right? But to all of the people tweeting me going, oh look, they're actually the same height. Tyson Fury wearing boxing boots, very little platform. Braun Strowman wearing those massive workman boots he wears with the steel toe caps, presumably. Maybe he does some digging after the show. I don't know. They have a massive platform on, that's why they're the same height there. And then the bell rang in that match and we saw a man called Tyson Fury who couldn't run the ropes, who couldn't take a flat back bump properly. He kept landing on the small of his back. Had you not seen that Do Not Try This at Home advert where Kurt Angle says, I think I broke my tailbone? Sounds like a country song, that. It was clear for all to see that Tyson Fury had not gone through enough professional wrestling training to have a professional wrestling match. And obviously, the mechanics of professional wrestling is the exact opposite to everything you do in boxing. You're meant to fall down willingly, you're meant to not protect yourself. Tyson Fury's not used to that, and it showed, but all credit in the world to him for giving it a go. He was bloody awful in the first half of that match, but then in the second half, he did a nice drive-by, like the big dog. He did a nice drop toe hold, trip-up thingy. He did a nice big boot. It turned out to be all right, didn't it? And then we have Michael Cole calling that good technique! And those of you who watch AEW Cole on Dynamite just know that Jim Ross, when seeing that and hearing Michael Cole call that, good technique, just about punched a hole in his telly that went through the telly and then through the wall behind it. Jim Ross doesn't like bad pinfalls. He lets us know that 50 million times every single show. Hiya Tyson, this is Mark. Don't ever do that again. That's how the phone call would have went. Now you just know if Bully Ray, back when he was Bubba Ray Dudley, was getting calls from The Undertaker for doing eye rolls for like a second because that's Taker's gimmick, Tyson Fury's getting a very angry, hiya, it's Mark, don't do that again, from Undertaker now, isn't he? And I know he did it against Wilder, but still. And then we get to the shenanigans after the bell, the power slam from Braun Strowman, Tyson Fury, no-sold it almost completely, a move that has put down lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of proper professional wrestlers. Not Tyson Fury, no sis. Somebody got a massive slap on the wrist from a big old meat castle when they got back through the curtain at the top of the ramp. But all the credit in the world at this time needs to go to Corey Graves. He tried to save Tyson's arse by saying, I don't think Tyson knew what hit him. He got back to his feet instinctively. Nice try, Corey. Come back, pussy! And now we have a direct quote from 2 Dick Terry. Well, let me tell you something, beautiful Byron brother. Double B, that's your new name. Beautiful Byron brother. 3. And he said it again, for Christ's sake. Does nobody watch these WTF Moments videos anymore? Do not answer that. 13 times Rick's beat you, Terry. 13. And then Terry 2 Dick says that Team Hogan, in preparation for this match against Team Flair, have been hanging and banging. Well, that's one way to do some team bodding, I guess. But you've got a question now. Which size dick did the members of Team Hogan get when they were doing the banging portion of that hanging and banging? Because as we all know during that court case, Terry has a different size dick to Hulk Hogan. And then 2 Dick Terry said that every time his team got thirsty in preparation for this match against Team Flair, he made them drink sand. And I was just thinking, that's a bit counterproductive, isn't it? And there's always one dickhead, isn't there? Someone threw a bottle at Natalya during her entrance. But all the credit in the world needs to go to Natalya because she didn't let it affect her or the moment or the significance of what was going on. She simply carried on, didn't acknowledge it, and some dickhead in the crowd must have been thinking, oh, I've just wasted a good bottle of water there. Not bad.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
So we were being told a story about how in some arena in New Jersey, Lacey Evans saw a picture of The Rock, so she got one of her pictures and put it on top of The Rock's pictures because that's where her pictures belong. And then Corey rather bafflingly says we've got to question Lacey's motives because who wants the picture in New Jersey? That was the scene of WrestleMania 35, Corey, you dick. What am I saying? Sorry. Of course, WrestleMania 35 took place in MetLife Stadium, which is in the shadows of New York City. That's not New Jersey at all. Well, I guess we've got to make it a WTF moment. A ladies' match actually happened in Saudi Arabia. Good. So after seeing that happen to Natty, some dickhead then threw a bottle at that famous women's wrestler Ric Flair. Or maybe this wasn't a negative thing. Maybe somebody saw Ric Flair today and thought, oh, he needs to drink him. First Kanellis, then Rusev, and now Michael Cole is the latest bloke who works for WWE to be cooked by WWE. And I don't think this has ever happened before, but Michael Cole was cut off in the middle of ejaculating. And here comes... And then the ham starts talking. Greg Hamilton was then fired, and it must have been awful for Michael. It must be like having the urge to sneeze, and then that sneeze just going away. So frustrating. And then we have what has to be the line of the decade from Michael Cole. And I'm not going to do the voice now, because I want to make sure you hear what Michael Cole said when he said, in many ways, everyone on Team Flair sort of resembles Ric Flair in some way. So right now, I want to remind you that the members of Team Flair are Big Baldy Bastard Baron Corbin, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Shinsuke Nakamura. They all resemble Ric Flair in some way. Sure you're working out Michael Cole, 'cause it's clear to me by that there you have lost your pissing mind. And what the hell do I even say here? That shot there speaks for itself, doesn't it? On that show, where that show's taking place, after everything that's happened, did nobody say something? No? They must have. Unbelievable! WWE clearly learned nothing from that bollocks we saw at Hell in a Cell. They saw the corner they booked themselves into last month and said, damn it, I want it again! And they must have seen how just about everybody reacted to that red lighting, but for some reason, Vince McMahon was like, yes! Dollop it on my plate as well! And what's even worse is the fact that they knew this match was going to spill into the crowd but we couldn't see a pissing thing. If I'm watching a wrestling match, I want to see everything that happens in that wrestling match. Watching wrestling shouldn't be a challenge, both in terms of the convoluted bollocks you book from week to week WWE, but also in terms of my eyes just actually seeing the bollocks you book. But of course the finish to that match wasn't bollocks, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? So it didn't work for Cain, and it went. It didn't work for Sin Cara, and it went. And it's not working for the Fiend, so it's got to go. It almost looks like Rollins is blinded, said Michael Cole. Not Michael, just the crap lights. And that's the issue I'm speaking of right there. That is an actual shot they used during Crown Jewel. During that main event, Bray Wyatt gives Seth Rollins his sister Abigail on that weird catwalk thing, and Rollins spills off the catwalk, and that's what we see. What? And next up we have the moment where Bray Wyatt fell off the stage into that technical area, into a pit of explosives and fire! You gotta say it like that, apparently. But Michael Cole's reaction to seeing a mythical man presumably die in a pit of explosives and fire is this. Oh my god. That's like you being told by your mum, the lad you went to school with, but you never ever talked to, he got killed. Oh my god. How does one man get his reaction to something happening on a wrestling show so wrong every single time? Michael Cole, you're useless. And next up we have Seth Rollins being blinded by that thing there that took place roughly 50 yards away from his face. Like, actually, what was supposed to be happening there? Was Seth, because, you know, the lights were down and it was spooky, was the sudden flash of bright light supposed to have, you know, harmed his retinas or something? Couldn't have. Well, there's yet another negative for those stupid lights. WWE, if the house lights were up, Seth's eyes would already have been adjusted and he wouldn't have been blinded, and he might have still been Universal Champion. I'm glad the lights are off now. And WTF, boys and girls, this match cannot be stopped for any reason, but that pinfall there, that stopped it. I'm a bad man. But forget about that nonsense. They actually did it. They actually did the thing we never thought they'd do. They've done it. They booked themselves into a horrible corner out of nothing other than greed. Oh, the Fiend's popular. Oh, we can sell Mr. Muscle boxes and Fat Man Dance boxes and masks. Oh, let's get him in the title feud already when he shouldn't have been near it for years at least. We've got this one man who beat Brock Lesnar twice this calendar year against this mythical creature who is like The Undertaker, in essence, should not be getting beat by anybody for a very long time. He no-sells offense. Eventually, when somebody beats him, that's a career made. But we can't beat him too soon, so let's put him against another guy we cannot beat. It made complete sense, didn't it? But instead of giving us the bollocks that happened at Hell in a Cell, I tried to murder him. They actually did the thing they should have just done at Hell in a Cell. Even though it didn't make sense in terms of Rollins beating Lesnar, then losing so quickly. And I don't know about you, but my immediate thought when Rollins took that massive L last night, I hope we don't see that man for a very long time indeed. Out of sight, out of mind, we can forget about being called fickle and the rest of the heely things this top babyface of the company said. I want to like you, Seth. Just go away for a while and we'll be fine, man. But yes, we have the Fiend as Universal Champion already, and strap me veins in, or whatever that saying is. Hook it to me veins, that's the one. I'm ready for a wild and bumpy and spooky ride. Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar versus the Fiend. Just do it. Have the Fiend win. Good on you. All the best. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us.